guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. On this episode, we are joined by Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza podcast. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. Welcome. We are excited to have our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza podcast, a remarkable figure in the podcasting world. Hailing from the Republic of Kenya, he has garnered 3 nominations for Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA. In addition to this recognition, Sambaza has also been nominated for Best Blog by the Texas Creator Awards. He has been a featured presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival and also participated at the 2025 Podfest. And with his wealth of knowledge, he shares unique perspectives. Welcome, Sambaza.
Hey, Jen, thank you so much. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Welcome in.
And I feel so bad, but
What happened?
we missed a show last week, but I had to go to the podcast movement. You know, I told you that it was in Dallas at the Gaylord, and it was so short. I got there late, so there was nothing much that I did. So I don't have so much stories to tell about it. Unfortunately, but paid for it, and here we are. But I'm here this week, and like I said, we're on today, currently on Clubhouse, on the East African Excellence Club, and the replays are there. And we are also live on TikTok, as usual, and getting all that knowledge out there for the people. Can't wait for today's show. Yeah.
Okay, so we did miss out last week, but we do have a lot of content out there. What I should have, had I been getting my wheels turning, I could have queued up a particular episode to run in place of us being live. But I just kind of last minute thing. So yeah, we missed out. But we do have a good topic that we want to get into. Speaking of podcasting and podcasters, our topic has to do with that. So before we officially introduce the topic, I do want to share what we'll be getting into today. So there's been a lot of news about podcast networks folding. So we want to give you the podcast indies response to what is going on with the podcast, this trend of podcast networks folding. So we're getting into our podcaster content creator bag today with that. But glad you did make it to Podcast Movement, but you don't have an official report to share. Okay, so maybe next time. And then you are on your way to some other festivals coming up, so be sure be prepared.
First of all, before we go too much into it, I did there was a cultural event, Kenyans living in Foni, which I had a great team of people behind me, and we did it within two months, and
Okay.
it turned out so much great. We actually had over 500 people show up at the park. There's a video out there. I'll probably post it on a link. I'll send you a link, and you'll see how it is and how we hung out. It's bound to get great things, but there were a lot of people, nice things said, and hey, we're here. That's what took so much of my time. Has been taking so much of my time now. So unfortunately, you do one thing and then it's on to the next one. I really don't.
And you actually were part of the planning committee of this, or
part of the planning committee, and
nice.
And here we are.
Yeah, you definitely should do a blog post about how that event went. I think that would be great content for you to share. So make sure you reflect on that experience and share. But while we're sharing, why don't you share the affirmation?
Oh yeah. Oh wait, Brother Ed, welcome. Peace and gratitude as you are. Thank you so much. Always the first one to throw in that peace and gratitude to us. We thank you so much as you always come to the show and bless us with your presence. We don't take it for granted. And so is everybody else who's watching on TikTok or on Clubhouse and right here on StreamYard. we thank you for staying in with us and listening to us. It's really what we appreciate. Now, for affirmation for the day, it says, "The chaos around me is no match to the calmness within me." The chaos around me is no match to the calmness within me.
Okay, nice.
Nice, right?
Thank you for sharing that. While while you're sharing, how about an African proverb?
Oh yeah. So since this, I took 2 weeks off. I went into this country. You know, Jen. This is a nice country. You've heard it about. You've heard about it in the news. This is a country called Eswatini.
Hmm.
Eswatini is Africa's has an absolute monarchy and is one of the few remaining in the world, and it's located in southern Africa. The thing about this country, it was formerly called Swaziland, and that's why people kind of shocked when, even me, when they said Eswatini, I was like, which country is this? When they say it's formerly Swaziland, then I
Hmm.
can relate to it. Now it's landlocked, which means it doesn't have a coastline. It's surrounded by South Africa, and then shares a small part of it border with Zambia. Now, three things that I found out about Eswatini is that it's one of the few countries in the world where both black and white rhinos can be found. And this is necessary because they are one of the extinct species out there. The other thing is it has a low expectancy in life expectancy rate because of the males usually die at 55.1 years and 59.3 in the women,
Okay.
and the
Hmm.
population is 7.2. You know, it's funny, women always outlast the men. Now,
That's what you.
last but not least, the king, who's King Muswati III, currently has 15 wives. His predecessor, that's his dad, had 125.
Oh
Now, get
wow.
this. He selects a new spouse at the annual Reed dance every year, and it's a cultural celebration which is
Hmm.
celebrates chastity and virginity. I think we all know about this. It's always being popularized now, but they're changing that narrative to make it sound more progressive, unlike before when it was different. So that's Eswatini in southern Africa, surrounded by South Africa, and nice country to visit.
Okay. And then was there a proverb?
Do you know what? I didn't miss out on the proverb. Um, let's do this. This is going to be a new one. Why don't we get onto the show while I search a proverb, and then I'll get a proverb. We'll get back to this. How about that?
All right.
All right.
Okay. So thank you for sharing those facts about the African country. And shout out to those who are tapping in with us real time and on the additional platforms. We appreciate you setting up those additional platforms to hear our broadcast. We're going to try to do an after show, live show over on the TikTok if we can. We've missed out on that a couple of weeks now. So we definitely will do some reflections after the show and try to go live somewhere. Maybe IG, TikTok, and things like that. So lately, we've seen a wave of major. So we'll introduce our topic at this time. So lately, we've seen a wave of major podcast divisions shutting down. Wondery, Shondaland, Cadence 13. For example, those are a few that recently shut down, leaving creators, especially minority podcasters, with fewer opportunities and less support. At the same time, we've seen celebrity driven podcasts and appearances make draw massive attention and it's kind of reshaping the industry. So we wanted to get into a conversation about what this means for independent podcasters like us. So today we're tapping into that conversation, breaking down challenges and opportunities in this podcasting space in light of, how can we compete with a celebrity podcast? And then, these big podcast divisions that a lot of independent podcasters aspire to go work for are, wrapping it up, calling it, quits. So that's where we are with it. Recently, we mentioned Wondery. Wondery was a arm of Amazon. So it was Amazon's podcast studio. They laid off over 100 employees, including the CEO, and that was really significant. I guess just that piece there. Any initial thoughts on the recent closures of these podcast studios?
I think it was the one for the Amazon. I think it was just one of those power moves or marketing moves whereby they needed to make that change. A lot of people are there, too many creators, different creators. I think in
Mhm.
order to streamline it, they figured out well, and I think they already had enough products out there that when they had everybody, anybody and everybody would go there and create the program and then create videos and talk about it. So I think they had a base full of products, video product videos that they could use and utilize, and maybe they're paying them for now, and that's hence the reason why they probably did the firing and keep the videos. You know what? Content. They might be keeping that content to themselves, and that's what you signed off. You went there as a creator, signed off the content. I think so. This is what I'm thinking. But uh, considering that loss, I would say the industry is moving. It's not the
Mhm.
way it was back in 2020. We're having new technologies come up, new varieties of the way we present podcasting. You remember there was the
Absolutely.
first was audio, audio, audio. Now it's video, 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 video. Everybody's running to YouTube, and
Right.
then who knows the next part?
Well,
Podcasting.
yeah, like you said, technology. A lot of people are doing AI driven podcasts. I mean, we hear about it in some of the podcasting communities that we participate in. Someone very, that has high numbers, I will say, has one podcast where he actually physically does it himself, and then he has one that is completely AI. He just sets it up and, tells, put those what's it, commands or what's the terminology for the so anyway, yeah, that he gives it the command and it's a whole AI situation, and then we've seen all these AI videos, so that is a big piece. But I wanted to share this that I found as a explanation for the closures of these studios and such. So it
Okay.
lists out a couple of things. One, cost pressures, a shift towards video, which you said, and then also the rise of creator led monetization models. So I said, what is that? So
Mhm.
examples of the creator led monetization models would be the subscriptions, like a Patreon, and that is like a paywall. Basically, your fans or your supporters pay a monthly fee for access to your content, and you can put up paywalls, on a site like Patreon, Discord, even, which Discord is typically free, but you can set up paywall structures. And then, so many, of course, we've heard of, OnlyFans and things like that. And then also AI powered tools. We just talked about an example of a whole podcast being, you know,
Run by.
operated, yeah, completely run by an AI situation, from the talent, the voices, even the content is just AI driven. You can say, I want a podcast about, X, Y, and Z. And yeah, so those are some of the reasons for those closures. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. The part for the subscriptions, and I think
Hmm.
this is where it becomes it gives you a question mark upon how many subscriptions can you afford, or how many subscriptions is there enough, is there in the market. Like people there was a time Joe Budden was talking about how much he earns off of Patreon, and I think it was close to the millions of dollars.
Hmm.
And these are the high end dollar podcasters, and then there are the lower end podcasters. Then sometimes you might sit down and look at your subscription models, or not models, but subscriptions, and say, "Look, I have so many subscriptions," and at that point you'll say, "Let me get these out of your bank account," right? Because you get charged for it. Now, when you take them out, you do realize that that's taking out money off of somebody else that you'd be putting in, which could help in enhancing their podcast, such as us indie podcasters, or mid-level podcasts and high dollar level podcasts like the celebrities and all that. Uh, and I think I talked about this at some point, that when you have money, like now, the thing about the podcasting, we needed to have these podcasts in there, like Shondaland, and now we have the Club Shay Shay. We have this Joe Budden, and then there's a Drinks podcast, and then Kelsey's podcast. Oh, shout out to those Swifties who are now happy that um, they got engaged. But
Mhm.
you see, with these high value, no, say high value, I'll call them high value podcasts. We needed them, and we need to keep them in the industry right now because they are the ones who shine a light on the indie podcasters. With that, they will make podcasting cool, and then it trickles down to us, minnows in the sea of podcasting.
And really, on that, along those lines, what's cool about it is that while a Joe Budden and all your favorite podcasts who are doing well, making a lot of money, have thousands of downloads and things, are on a Patreon, you and me could be on Patreon too. So there's so many different levels to that site. You can even have a free Patreon, or it could be $1. You know what I mean? Like literally, and I actually, used to pay for a few subscriptions to like my favorite podcast, and then I finally said, okay, look, do I want to be a content creator? I'm just gonna keep throwing my money at some other people. So I was like, okay, we have to pay myself and work on my thing. But
Mhm.
I'm a fan. I'm a podcaster. I enjoy. We both enjoy podcasts. So you get some extras, and you determine what extra you want to do. And we could, like you even said all the time, hey, this could be our Patreon content. And it could, and that's a thought.
Yeah, you're right. And I think when you look at the model and how much they charge, that's
Mhm.
on $1 you can charge up to $20 depending on how you
Correct.
do it, and then how you also give out podcasting. But one thing we highlighted yesterday, when I said what you give out in podcasting, I mean, you can tell people at the end of the year, if you pay for my $20 Patreon, at the end of the year, I can give you a swag shirt, a swag T-shirt, or a cup or
Mhm.
something like that sent to you. So that gives added value to your
Oh,
podcast.
absolutely.
Um, with the celebrity podcast, I think some of those came in and died because I was saying this. These are human beings. They had time, and then they had to get into their business, and life happens just like everybody else. They also
Mhm.
have other projects. So when you see a podcast dying for a celebrity, it's not that they probably wanted it to die. It probably they had other things to do, or maybe they're not cut off for podcasting. Not everybody is going to be cut off for podcasting.
Mhm.
Even the celebrities, yes, they have nice content, but it's not the content that maybe they're able to share, or they may not be able to know what kind of content they can share. So
Right.
we do have this shift where they come in, plenty of podcasters, and then they have to move. Now, I
Mhm.
think we should also try to go back to the company-led podcasters,
Mhm.
company-led podcasts, like what you're talking about, Amazon. What does that entail? Because most companies do create podcasts, and they would sponsor podcasts. If there's this shift where now you see Amazon cutting down on podcasts, then that can also create another shift whereby if companies were sponsoring podcasts, they would be like, nah, you know what, we may not go around with you this year because of the budget, uh,
Mhm.
with the cost cutting of of the funds. They'll say, hey, we're going to this is the word they like to use, we're going on a different direction, so therefore we don't feel like at this time we can be able to work on that particular podcast for you. And when they tell you that, that means you're out, and you could be out of a nice contract. Hopefully you had signed maybe a contract that was like 2-year contract, and it comes to an end, you're aware that
Mhm.
it's coming to an end, but not this monthly where there's no end to it. But
True.
yeah, and you don't know what contract, what details you have in your contract, because they can break the contract and you'll be like, okay, we're breaking it. You now have to go to litigation and stuff like that. You don't want to get into that because that's a whole bunch of things. However, uh, what I'll say is basically it's just a shift. Different models are coming with different times, and then we will have us as podcasters need to look ahead. AI is here. There, like you said, driven models like the what you call it, like the paywalls. You also have to get into live events so that people can know who you are and get to hang out with you and feel you. You're not somebody that sits there and just talks and talks and talks and talks like us. We probably need to get a live show one day and get to speak to people and they see, okay, we're not just sitting behind a studio. No, we are out there with you. So there's that
Right.
change in direction where podcast, I can say it's just growing in a different manner and people are just adjusting to it.
True. And then, like, basically, I feel like the moral to the story is that while it is a challenge, and it's kind of just media in general, because I mean, even your radio in the radio world, it's cyclical like that too. You never know. You can walk in one day. I know of people that work for radio stations, even like in accounting, and one day you walk in, everything's fine. The next day, oh, okay, it's a different station. The whole thing is, it just changes
Humanity.
like that. Exactly. That's how it is in media. So podcasting is no different. No different. Everybody wants to be a part of this great trend, but it just seems like it creates an opportunity for the independent, whether you're the independents who are, celebrity or more well known with a following of hundreds of thousands or millions, or if you're just, like me and you and just, independent thugging it, guerrilla thug podcast, independent in the mud type. Either way, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow your following and things like that. I mean, look at Joy Reid. We were talking about the Joy
Yeah.
Reid situation. Her show was canceled by MSNBC. She emotionally, was hurt and shared being hurt, and it really caught her by surprise and what she shared. But then look what has become of it. She created her own independent model and media studio and has been booking great guests, and doing very well since that departure. And who would have thought, to lose out on, such a huge show by a huge network could lead to, a good situation. So that's definitely a hopeful moment for independence too.
As you are doing that, I was looking. There's this guy, Mac G,
Hmm.
podcast and chill with Mac G. Now he had another guy on here called Sol Fenduka. He just got fired
Hmm.
from his radio station. So he was a radio station and a podcast. So they were doing both. And then just the other day, he just was told, "Hey, you know what? The company is going on different direction. You're going to move out, and here we go. You're out." And they told him live on the show, like they were talking about it. This Mac G just told the guy, "Hey, you look, you're fired. They told you they're going on different direction. You're on suspension for 7 days. You're gone."
Right.
But when the South Africans are looking at it, and I was looking through it, they said it was giving him more opportunity because at this time he was stuck to the radio station, and now he gets a chance to be independent. Now I don't know how independent he will be, but um, from what it looks like, he has a chance to come out and be much better than what he was. I'm looking at that scene very carefully because even
Mhm.
one of our great podcasters called John Savage was talking about it and the ramifications of him being fired. So it was Mac G and Soul. That's the podcast and chill with Mac G. Those are the two guys. So it's really interesting. It's all over Twitter about this stuff.
Nice. And then here's something positive to share. So I did found this information in our chat GPT research. Strengths that independent podcasters can leverage in light of competing with the celebrity model and things like that. Being so the first one is being authentic voices. So being independent, your voice is, has the potential to be truly authentic, Another is community and niche focus. So you can be as specific and, tailored to your particular topic and subject matter. You have the freedom to do that when you're independent, right? You can nurture and massage your community and welcome your community however you want to do it, right? So you have that freedom as an independent. Another one, it mentions innovative formats. You could do live shows. We're doing a live model now. In the past, this show was pre-recorded. But it's like, why not live? We have the freedom to do that, and then put our audio episodes later, and why not? So when you're independent, you can do that. We're gonna go live over on TikTok. We're gonna, you have the freedom to do that. Patreon, you have the option to do and set up a Patreon. If you wanted to, you can charge $1. You can make it free. You can charge $8. You can have the freedom to set it up how you want. You can run a promotion, and maybe the first 50 are free. And after that, you get a special discount. You'll get a t-shirt after your 5th month, anything, however you want to set it up, right? And then grassroots marketing is on the list here. You can really be personalized with your community and make newsletters with people's names on it. I mean, you can just, really be specific in how you reach out to people. And then storytelling is the last one, storytelling freedom versus network constraints, right? So you backed by a network, you may have to curb, what you're able to share and your opinions and things like that. When you're independent, you mostly, mostly can, be free to share how you want to share. So that's pretty,
And especially that independence part. That independence part makes your creativity move mountains. And there's nothing as good as when you're creative and you are let loose, and you're able to do what you can do within the confines of society. That is, I think what's his show? This comedian, his name just slipped up. He had a show. What's his name?
Trevor Noah?
No, not Trevor Noah. The
Oh.
Before Trevor Noah. Um,
Jon Stewart?
no. No.
Oh.
Um, why is he getting out of my? He's a black guy, and then
Yeah.
he's married to a Chinese lady. Uh,
The Dave Chappelle?
Dave Chappelle. That's the
Oh
guy.
God.
You remember when Dave Chappelle brought his show, and he had all these skits, and the skits were funny, and people could tell season 1, season 2. But by the time he got
Okay.
the creativity was being muzzled, and he said, "Look, I can't do this. I'm done." And I think
Yeah.
at that point he decided it was time to quit, because the creativity was getting into his the management was getting into his creativity, where they were telling him what to do. And when you're being told what to do, it kind of stops you from being more open to try new things, or be more experimentative on what you're doing. So he had to call it quits.
Right. And what's even more interesting, after that whole scenario with the sit down with Oprah or whatever he did, them showing the repeats or the first season over on Netflix, he shared publicly that he wasn't being compensated, either like not
Oh,
at all or in a significant way, and so he had asked people not to watch it because of that. So it's like, isn't it something, after all that, all the money they paid him and offered him, and then when and I have the DVD box set, but if people want to stream, to not pay the creator of a piece of intelligence is
mhm.
crazy, especially
Intellectual.
somebody like that.
Yeah, it's intellectual property that they're messing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think we probably need more of those independent podcasters come out, especially the ones who have been in networks like Miss Reed, to get off and then come on the shows and create their own shows. I think another Kenyan person that I followed was a lady called Osimbo. She
Mhm.
was a sportscaster on
Mhm.
famous radio TV station, and she got cut during COVID times. And
Mhm.
following her, she went on and had a brilliant career podcasting. She tried her hand in podcasting and then got back to getting her job. So it could go either way. You could go
Right.
back into podcasting that would bring you, would keep you in the loop, right? And then at some point, you could still go back to your job. Say you are being retrenched, or maybe they found that, like they say, we're going in a different direction. And at that
Right.
direction may not be you in mind, but then somewhere along the line, they'll come back to this direction and see that, oh, you're on their direction, so they'll bring you back. So I think going back and forth as an example of that is
Mhm.
great. But still, those who come out and create their own shows, and when they do that, especially when they come and create their own shows, that creates a whole list of employment, because when they leave, they need people who do the camera, people who do
Mhm.
their makeup, like it's a normal set. So you're taking a piece of whatever you're having at the station and bringing it to yourself, and you create this great podcast ecosystem,
Mhm.
where even if Jen, like for example, if I worked for Miss Reed and say she decided to stop doing what she's doing, or let's say I worked with Joe Budden, right? That's a name I can carry and say, hey, I worked with Joe Budden. This is what I used to do on his show, and I'm gonna move to another, do something else on the side, on the side, get another job somewhere by just the
Absolutely.
fact that I had been working with him. It comes with a good name. So,
Oh yeah, and that's actually been done. Mandy B, who is one of my, podcast mentors in my head, had a show up under his umbrella and branched off, started her own, and she's doing very well, very well. Shout out to Mandy B. Yeah, so you can be independent all day. You can branch out from another independent, So there's definitely the freedom and opportunity to do that. And, once you build your following, the money and the razzle dazzle and the monetization will come.
and I think at some point, people, I'm envisioning television coming to where we're going to be podcasting. Like right now, say for example, we have this show at 8 o'clock this time. Somebody could come and give us slots and create a show, like a station, whereby they'll say, okay, if you want to tune into this particular group of people, you want to listen to them at this particular time, you
Mm-hmm.
just go in and these are the slots that we have, and we run for an hour and move over. Somebody else comes in, they put in their show. So it may turn out to be a great thing, especially when you, like I said, when you have these big dollar companies, or big
Mm-hmm.
dollar or well pocketed individuals start moving from one, making a shift and going from one end to the other. Um, they will create different opportunities. Let me put it that way.
Yes, for sure. Now, this is interesting, kind of steering away from that, but related to podcasting. There was a Hollywood Reporter article that named the 44 most powerful people in podcasting. So, of course, I'm scouring this list and seeing how many people of color are on this list. And we had a good little small handful. So I just wanted to talk about the ones that were on the list that the Hollywood Reporter named as the 44 most powerful people in podcasting. And the first of the people of color named was Joe Budden, of course.
Right. Right.
He pulls those numbers in and all the things. Michelle Obama's podcast with her brother was named Charlemagne the God, obviously.
But
And
is it
then
a radio station, or that's a radio station? Is it a podcast
was
or
it?
Charlemagne the God?
So they named him because he heads up his own podcast network, which is Black Effect.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so so I mean, he does his own independent projects, but he, produces decisions through Black Effect and so many others. I can't even list them all. So he was just named as, being the head of a very successful podcast network, just like Joe Budden. Shout out to them, Michelle Obama. I do have listened to
in my
quite
opinion.
a few of her episodes that have been cool, and thought provoking. Thought provoking. A lady named Falana Patterson, who apparently came from the Wall Street Journal, was on the list. So apparently she's very significant Wall Street Journal background. And then the other person of color who was not a black person was Jay Shetty. So I believe he is of some Middle Eastern descent, if I'm not mistaken. But I have actually watched his podcast a few times too, because he has a very calming and soothing voice. And, his content is always just very like positive and spiritual and uplifting. Obviously, he used to be a monk or something like that. So, like, he just comes with this very calm, soothing voice. Have you listened to any of Jay Shetty's?
No, that's one person I
And it's
haven't.
interesting. He's done interviews with black people, white people. Like, he will sit down with any and everybody, and he's very well known. So yeah, check him out.
I
He's
will.
very calming.
Very
So I
cool.
thought that was interesting that we had a handful of melanated folks on the list as the powerful people in podcasting. So it just shows you that, while the industry or these different industries don't see the value in keeping podcasts going, there's still, obviously, we know that there's value in podcasting. It just, the more independent, the more authentic, but however you slice it, there's definitely value there.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Additional thoughts.
No, I didn't want to miss out on the proverb.
Okay.
The the proverb of the day. This is from Eswatini. It says, "A man shows his character by what he laughs at." A man shows his character by what he laughs at. What do you say about that?
Well, I'm thinking like that saying about you gotta laugh to keep from crying, but I don't think that's it. So I don't know.
Well, I think at this part it says when you are when you're expressing yourself, how you express yourself. Laughter is something that kind of cuts off a lot of things or kind of tries to elevate a lot of things. So you might say
Does
something
it?
crazy. Yeah,
Does it?
it can elevate. Yeah, it elevates a lot of things. It can elevate
Okay.
your anger. It can elevate your surprise. It can elevate a lot of emotions, actually.
Okay.
Now, it depends on what was said. I may have said something that was really important, but if you laughed, then I would question, like, hey, why are they laughing? You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So that's where the proverb says it judges, it shows your character by what you are enthused about.
Wait, say it again.
So I may say something serious and you laugh, right? So when somebody is listening, when somebody laughs at
No, say the proverb.
the proverb, it says a man shows his character but by what he laughs at.
Okay. So now, and this has nothing to
What?
do with Africa at all, but you've seen the movie Goodfellas, right?
Mm-mm, not yet.
Are you serious? So there's a part in Goodfellas when he's like, "Oh, you're a funny guy." And he's like, "Funny how? Funny in what way?" Like, you trying to say, like, I'm here for your amusement? Like, he totally got offended, Joe Pesci, by him saying, "You're a funny guy." Ray Liotta's like, "Oh, you're a funny guy. You're a funny guy." So you have to see Goodfellas. I've seen it like 100 times, and I'm like shaken that you have not. But obviously, it has nothing to do with Africa or the diaspora. But it's just a good gangster movie. So anyway, oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah, he was totally offended that he thought he was funny. So like, I think, it's an insult. It's like an insult. You think I'm funny? Like, I'm here for your amusement? Like, you don't think I'm a serious person? Like, so that comes, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, that comes to mind. Yeah, that's where that whole train of thought came from.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah, it's so many
Like
good
that.
one-liners in that movie. Hilarious.
Yep.
Nobody in the chat got anything to say about that. Yeah, ain't nobody seen Goodfellas.
Look,
Hilarious.
it's me. It's me and my Africanness. I sometimes miss out on some.
Yeah, it's very white, but it's a good
Well,
movie. Good
you caught
movie.
me on that one. You caught me on that one.
Yeah, you gotta love a good gangster movie.
All right. Well, thanks. I want to thank the guys who are still on here on what you call it, Clubhouse. We got replays on Clubhouse. Thank you. We're talking about podcast shows shutting down, and I'm with Jen, and we're on live stream and also live on TikTok as well. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and sticking in for this topic. Some of you are not podcasters, but maybe you can relate when we talk about these things here. Go ahead, Jen.
For sure, absolutely, and we appreciate the ones who have tapped in. I actually signed up for your club over there. I found it, so thanks for accepting me into the club. Sambaza,
Yes, go ahead.
did you
I was
know?
saying, I was saying thank you to somebody who's on who's
No, I
hanging
was saying I signed up. Did you see that I joined?
on the East African Excellence Club.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I did.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm not East African, but I hear all
Hey,
up
no,
and
no, no.
through.
As long as you hang out with me, you're East African now.
Okay, so all right. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us today. We hope that you found today's conversation inspiring and enlightening. If you found the episode meaningful, please consider sharing it with friends, family, your colleagues. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change, and we invite you to stay tuned for more engaging content. We look forward to continuing these important conversations. So, with that, any
No, I'll say this was a great show.
yeah,
Podcasting though, but with this, I think we can get some, thoughts and ideas of what we
oh,
can do.
absolutely, yeah,
Anybody who
definitely got
comes,
the wheels turning for
yeah,
sure.
and anyone who comes into podcasting, I hope they don't stop it, but they don't stop their dreams about podcasting. They come into podcasting and do podcast because it's a great thing out there. Oh, and by the way, Jen, I am officially 5 years old. Sambaza is 5 years old. Can you imagine that? Imagine that.
Congrats,
We hit 5 years.
congrats.
Man. Ah, ah.
Yes, yeah, I hit that at like what 2 months ago or something like that. So yeah, look, it was that
Where's the cake?
pandemic time, it was just a thing that we did.
Where's the
But you're still in there. You're
right?
still in the game.
Some have come, some have left, but we're still in here.
True.
Hey, where's the cake? Where's the cake?
Oh, you had cake last time. Got to watch that A1C.
Hey,
Hey.
no, we're going. No, I'm having cake next time. So next we'll
Okay.
have a cake. Hopefully, I'll get a cake, guys.
Sugar free.
Sugar-free.
Sugar free. All right. So
All
with
right,
that,
then.
thank
Take
you
us home.
guys, and you stay tuned for additional content. The audio episodes will be up soon. I'm getting caught up. I think I'm up to 218, so I'll have 219 out shortly, and this is 222. So all right, everybody, take care. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out. And also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review. and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.